Okay. So we fixed where I left the 0 off, or the printer cut the 0 off, and then we added the 1 and the 84 down here. All right, so we're going to go back up to the top and fill in our definition for mean absolute deviation. All right, mean absolute deviation is the average distance between each data value and the mean of the data. That sounds kind of complicated. We're going to break it down. Give everyone a chance to write that down. Mean absolute deviation, that's a lot of words to write down, so when we're writing it in our work, we can just write MAD, mad. So we can all be kind of like the treasure cat today. We're all going to go a little mad. All right? Great. Okay, make sure you have that definition written down. Mean absolute deviation. All right, so I want us to break this down a little bit. The average distance between each data value and the mean of the data, that's a lot going on. So let's kind of start off with this in part. You see where it says the mean of the data? So guys, what do you think I'm going to need to know? If it says we need the average distance between each data value and the mean of the data, what am I going to need to know? I need to know the mean. Have we learned how to find the mean? Yes. Yeah, in fact, we talked about that at the beginning of the class. What do I do to find the mean? Raise your hand real quick. Reminder. Jet? Add them up and divide by how many numbers there were. So guys, the first thing, and we're going to do this in a chart because I think charts can make it a little bit easier to organize. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to find the mean. So in our chart, we're going to make a column that says mean. So you need to write this down because these are your steps. So we're going to find the mean. Once I know the mean, it also tells me I need to know the distance each data value, so that just means each number. I need to know the distance each number is from the mean. Guys, what would I do mathematically to find out how far apart two numbers are? How would I figure out in math how far apart two numbers are? Noah? All right, on a number line, but do I want to draw out a number line for every single data value? All right, Hunter? We would subtract them. Awesome. So our next step is going to be subtract. So for example, if I had like the number 5 and the number 2, and I want to know how far apart they are. What's 5 minus 2? 3, because they are 3 spaces away from each other, okay? So we're going to do the mean. Then we're going to do a bunch of subtraction. Then it says we want to know the average of those subtraction problems. What is another word for average? What is another word for average? What is that called finding? Sean? Hunter? It's a word that we've learned in statistics. What is another word for the average? Maribel? It is the mean. I saw you over there whispering. You got to volunteer because you're the only one calling it out. Okay, so the average is also called the mean. That's where we add it up and divide by the amount of numbers. That is the average, guys. So what this is really saying is find the mean of the distance of the mean. So we found the mean. We subtracted to find out how far they are. Now, this is going to be where we get our mean absolute deviation. This is going to be where we get our answer. But all it's doing is we're finding the mean again. Am I using the original numbers, though? No, I'm using the numbers that I got when I subtracted. Are y'all okay with that? So we're going to do the mean. We're going to do a bunch of subtraction. Then we're going to do our mean again. All right? So, we're going to look at number 1. Number 1. Starting with the mean. I'm going to draw my chart here. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers. So I need 6 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and then we're going to subtract. And then we're going to find our mean absolute deviation. Guys, this chart's going to be really helpful. Am I going to have the chart for you on the test? No. But if you can draw this chart, mean, subtract, mad. Mean, subtract, mad, the way I remember this is we get real mad because these problems take so much work. Okay, so mean, subtract, mad. Yes, sir. Okay, hold on. I'm getting there. All right, so we need to do the mean. When I'm finding the mean, Hunter, what's the first thing I have to do? I have to add all these numbers up. So you should have your calculator ready to go because we're going to be using it a lot. So I've got to add all these numbers up. Carefully adding them with the decimal in the right place, with the numbers in the right place. When I add them up, what do I get, Hunter? 52. 52. All right?
And then divide it by however many numbers you want.
Can we do this one problem first? Okay, see if you can make it, okay? If not, go ahead, but see if you can make it. All right, what do you say we're doing? We're dividing by?
How many numbers there are?
And there are?
6.
So, are there any questions on where I got 52 from? Are there any questions on where I got 6 from? We added them up, divided by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 numbers, so we divide by 6. If there were 10 numbers, I would divide by 10. If there were 4 numbers, I would divide by 4. Okay? Trip.
Yeah.
8.66666. So that's a repeating number in my calculator, right? But here's my problem. This is talking about money. Can money repeat?
No.
It would be nice if I just add a bar on it. My money goes on forever. That's not the way that works, okay? So I'm going to kind of draw a line here because remember I need money to stop after 2 decimals. All right, is that going to stay 8.66 or is that last number going to have to go up? What's going to happen here? Is it going to stay or is it going to go up? Yeah, it's going to go up because a 6, 5 or more raise the score. So this 6 over here is going to make that get bigger. So I get $8.67. All right, I'm not circling it, but I am going to underline it. That number is my mean. All right, Owen?
How did you get the 52?
We added all the numbers. So the 9.25, $9, $9.50. When we add all them up, it just gives me a perfect 52, which is kind of crazy since they all had decimals. But all right, so now it says to subtract. So guys, I'm going to start with my first number, which says $9.25, and I'm going to subtract the number that I just got, $8.67. Are there any questions on where I got that? Okay, we did our that was my first number, $9.25. See right there? First number, and then I subtracted what we just got in that chart. Okay? All right, guys, what do I get when I do $9.25 minus $8.67? Kelsey? 0.53. 58, right? 0.58. All right. What's my next number? $9. Y'all see where I'm just getting the numbers from the list? So now I'm going to do 9.00 minus 8.67. Every time I'm subtracting that mean. Y'all okay with that? What do I get when I subtract those? Raise your hand if you can tell me. Jet? 0.33. My next number, $9.50 minus $8.67. Are we okay with this? Am I going too fast for anyone? We're okay? All right, what do I get when I subtract those? Olivia? 0.83. All right. I'm going to just keep going in that order. It makes it easier to make sure I keep everything in the same spot. So I'm writing 7.75 minus 8.67. That looks a little weird, doesn't it?
It's a negative.
All right. That looks weird because I'm doing a little number minus a big number, right? Guys, type that in your calculator. I want everyone to see what happens here, okay? Because this is different. So type it in your calculator. Everyone type it in. Okay. When I type it in, what does my calculator say? Carlos? Negative 0.92. So I want us to think about something real quick. Guys, remember where this said the mean absolute deviation? We've seen that word before when we did absolute value bars. Remember those bars? What do those absolute value bars do to a number? Raise your hand if you can tell me. What do my absolute value bars do to a number? Javon, raise your hand. Javon. They make it positive. So do I want negative 0.92? No. What do I want to write down? 0.92. Guys, remember, this is measuring a distance. All right? We can describe a distance as a negative by going backwards or going down. But can I actually, like, if I wanted to count out steps, I'm going to go 5 steps backwards. Am I going to count negative? If I go 5 steps backwards, I'm just going to get up and go, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right? Do you see how that negative number, if I'm actually doing something with it as a distance, I need it to be a positive, okay? So the next one says $8, so I have 8.00. I'm still doing minus 8.67. Do you see how I'm subtracting the same number every time? Makes it pretty easy. All right? My calculator is going to give me one thing, but what am I going to write down, Alana? Double check. Type it in your calculator just like that. What am I going to actually write down? What does the calculator say? Let me see your I think your calculator's got something funky going on. What do we get, Maribel? 0.67. Yeah, so what's happening, do you see where it says that fix? It's going to a whole number every time. So this is when we just want to flip it over. Someone's got it going funky. Reset it up. Oh, I was pushing the screw, not the button. All right, now we should be able to get it. Yeah, I know. I just like pushing the button on the back. It's easy. All right, if you push the right thing. So the last number, 8.50 minus 8.67 equals, what do I get there, Kelsey? 0.17. Sorry, I thought you said 7 for a second. 17. Got it. Okay. All right, so now I've subtracted. What is my next step? Hunter. Olivia. Add all these. Well, I know, Chris, you've got to raise your hand though. Okay. All these numbers that we just got. We want to add them up. So y'all got the calculators. Add them up carefully with that decimal. Careful with the decimal. We're going to add them up. Add them up. What do I get when I add them, Trip? 3.5. And now what do I have to do? Because that's not my only thing. We have to add and. Raise your hand. Add and. Steve it? Divide. What am I dividing by? 6. There were 6 numbers that we added, so we divide by 6. Okay? So my calculator, and I'm going to write this out, my calculator says 0.58333333, repeating. We're talking about money. Does that look like money? No. So again, we can draw our bar, draw our line. What is that actually going to be as money? Sean? 58 cents. Very good. So that right there, that is my mean absolute deviation. Okay? All right. Well, let's look at number 2. Yes, Sean? Yes. I'm sorry, Hunter. Say that again. I'm sorry. Because This is $0.58. Is it 0.58 cents? No, it's 58 cents. So if you're using a dollar sign in the problem, use a dollar sign in your answer, or it's going to throw your answer off, okay? Good question. All right, number 2. Number 2 says to compare the mean absolute deviation. Guys, we are just going to focus on finding the mean absolute deviation. My advanced classes, they have to compare. I want us to just focus on finding it. Does that make sense? So we're going to find my mean absolute deviation for the morning, and we're going to find it for the afternoon. Remember, if you have 2 different lists, you have to do 2 different problems. Are we okay with that? So let's set up mean. Just doing that chart again. Mean. Subtract. And then what goes on my last column? Mad. Because we're real mad we're having to do all this work. That's just an easy way to remember it. All right, let's start off with our mean. So hopefully by the end of the day, we all know how to find the mean. Because what do I have to do to find my mean, Kaylin? Add them all up. Let's start with that. Let's add them all up and see what we get. What do I get when I add them? Kelsey, you got that already? 333, okay? So we add them up. After I add them up, now what do I do for the mean? Now what do I do for the mean? Javon? Double check, you left a number out. Amaya, what do I do now that I've got them out? Divide it by 6 because there were 6 numbers. Go ahead, Chris. My calculator, Truett?
You get 55.5.
55.5. There it is. I'm going to underline it so we know that's what we get. All right, now we're ready to subtract, starting with my first number. Guys, it's a lot of work, isn't it? I'm going to give you a little hint on how to kind of speed up your process, okay? So I'm going to write down 59 minus 55.5. Are there any questions on where I got that? I'm going to go ahead and write down all of the math problems. So after 59, now I'm going to do 50 minus 55.5. And then I'm going to write 54. I'm going to work them out at one time, but if I go ahead and write them down, that's going to kind of speed me up a little bit, okay? 61 minus 55.5, 54 minus 55.5, and 55 minus 55.5. Now all I've got to do is type it in and write my answer, okay? All right. So on the first one, 59. Do you have to write them all out first? If you want to write it, get your answer, write it, get your answer, write it, get your answer, you can. This just helps me speed up. It might not you. Camilla, what do we get for the first one? 3.5. Okay. What about for 50? What do I get? Hunter? 5.5. Okay. Carlos, you got the next one? For 54, what do we get? 1.5. All right, for the next one, for 61, Anahi? 5.5. For 54, what do I get? Jason? Okay. 1.5, excellent. I love how y'all are leaving those negatives off. We don't want them. And Owen for the last one? 0.5. Okay, now what do I need to do with all those numbers? Maribel? Add all of them up. All right, when I add them all up, what am I going to get there when I add them all up? Be careful with the decimals. Camilla? 18. Excellent job. And then what do I have to do? Carlos, I'm going to kind of interrupt you. What do I do after I add them? Divide by? 6. Because there were 6 numbers. What if I had 11 numbers? We divide by 11, and then I'd hate my math teacher for giving me so many numbers, right? All right, so we divide by 6. What does that give me, Hunter? 3. So there's my mean absolute deviation. All right, afternoon. Let's do that one real quick. So we have mean. Huh? Yes, Chris? In the list. If you leave one out, that's fine. You can just add it to the bottom. That doesn't matter. That's a good question. Mean subtract, and what's the last one? Mad. Mad. Okay. My mean, first thing, add them up. What do we get when we add them up? Add them up. What do we get? Kelsey. 450. And then what am I dividing by on this problem? I think we left a number out. Kaylin? Divide by 6, because there are 6 numbers. Guys, please remember, do you always divide by 6? No, it's just however many numbers there are. I just happen to pick a bunch with 6. All right, Camilla? 75. All right, there's my mean. I'm going to go ahead and write all of my subtraction problems. Sean, while you were out, we talked about how if you write all of your subtraction at one time, it makes it a little faster. All right, you don't have to if you don't want to. So I'm going to start with my subtract. So I have 65 minus 75. 74 minus 75. Am I blocking you from getting that other one copied down, Sean? You good? Okay. Yeah. If you want to do this one with us, you can, and copy that one down in a minute. Okay. So I have 82 minus 75. 74 minus 75. 71 minus 75. And 84 minus 75. Guys, it's going to help you stay consistent and make sure you're repeating that number over and over, okay? All right. What do I get for 65 minus 75? Anahi? 10. 74 minus 75. Maribel? 1. 82 minus 75. Tony, you got that one for me? Perfect. And Carlos, I saw your hand. 74 minus 75. 1. 71 minus 75. Amaya. 4. And 84 minus 75. Chris, give me that last one. Type it in. 9. Perfect. Okay, we're ready for our mad. What do I need to do, Camilla? Add them up. What do we get? 32. And then what am I dividing by here? 6. So what does my calculator say here? Carlos? So we get that 5.3 repeating. Now, guys, I got a couple questions for you. Is this money? No. Does it tell me to round? No. So can I use the bar? If it does not say money or if it does not say to round, we can use that bar. Okay? Guys, that's all I need for you to do on your homework. But I know some of us are really gearing towards that advanced, so I want to talk to you about what I'm having the advanced do as well, okay? You don't have to do this on your homework, but I do want you to see it. Look at my morning numbers. Do you see how they're all close to the 50s? Like even 61 is really close to the 50s, isn't it? In the afternoon, I've got some 60s, I got some 80s, I got some 70s. So my morning are really close together, right? And my afternoon are really spread apart. My morning has a small number because they're only 3 away from each other. My afternoon has a big number because they're further away from each other. So the way that we would compare that is the morning, and I'm going to shorten it, temps have a lower mean absolute deviation. So I'm going to put mad because they are closer together. Okay? All right. On the homework, your homework is on the back. I want you to flip it. Flip it over. I'll put that sentence up there in just a second if you still need it. All right. On the back, we're going to mark out number 4. My regular and my advanced. Everyone is marking out number 4. I'm kind of shortening it. Guys, we only got 2 problems done on that first side. Is this enough space to do 3? No, guys, this is not enough space. You need to do your work on a separate piece of paper. On the top, it says find the mean, absolute deviation. It says round to the nearest 100th, if necessary. So that means, guys, treat all of them like money. You don't got to put your money sign, but round it like it was money, okay? Where it says, see where it says round to the nearest hundredth? Round it like it's money. Look at number 1. I got some zeros there. Are zeros still numbers? Yes, zeros are numbers. So do you have to use your zeros? Yes, there are 8 numbers here. Use all 8 numbers, okay? You do not have to describe. You can just find the mean absolute deviation. Whoa, sit. On number 2, 3, remember, advance has to compare. You just have to find your 2 mean absolute deviations, okay? Y'all have a good day, guys. 3 problems. Get them done for me.